Okay guys, so for tonight's dinner, I'm going to be doing a swordfish steak, but I'm actually going to cube this over a bed of some white cannellini beans. And we're going to be doing some asparagus, and I'll be using some fresh herbs. Then I'm going to take some of this dill. I'm actually going to do dill and mint and make a fennel and apple and cucumber salad. I think I'm going to add like a little cheese in this too. I'm not sure yet, but I thought I would take you guys along for tonight's dinner. What I like about the swordfish is it kind of doesn't taste super fishy, so the kids like it. I prefer it over other fish, but they also love salmon. So I'm excited to check this out. This is one of those kind of new recipes I wanted to check out. So I'm obviously gonna be doing my own spin on it, but I like trying out some things that are a little more healthy, a little more on the green side, and I can't wait to see how this recipe turns out. Okay, let's get started.
And one day she said, write me a love song, 'cause I know you'll make it beautiful. And maybe I'll call you my sweetheart.
So once you get all of your vegetables washed, we're going to go ahead and chop everything up. The first thing I want to do is actually get our salad made. So I'm going to chop up some fresh celery. I'm going to make it like in little cubes. I just think it's easier to eat this way, but we're going to chop that up. Then I'm going to be chopping up an apple, maybe 2 apples, just depending on how large your family is. I always find that my kids end up eating all the apples and cucumbers out of the salad, but this way I have a little bit of everything. I also love using fennel in this salad as well. If you would like to omit the fennel, you can also add just regular lettuce in here. So then you have apples, cucumbers, and celery.
Promise nobody can steal me away. Then I am yours. 'Cause I want you and I wanted you to know. He looked at her and then he smiled, picked up a pen and paper and started writing. Probably something about her eyes and how they're always shining, or something cliche like ooh. Baby, I only want you. It's true.
After you get the fennel and the cucumbers, celery, and apples chopped up and added inside, I like to chop up a little bit of fresh dill. And we're going to be adding some feta cheese to this and some of my favorite dressing, which is Gerards champagne dressing. It's like one of my favorites. But I'm going to set that aside, and then I'm going to get started on our swordfish. So for the swordfish, instead of cooking it all at once, I'm going to actually cube it. That way each square gets a little crunchy, and I just think that it's so much better in this dish versus when you're done and chopping it up, and it's just a better way to do it. But if you can do it either way that you like, I'm just going to do it this way, and I'll show you why at the end of this video. Then I'm going to chop up our asparagus. We're going to be making a bed of cannellini beans and asparagus with this really delicious dressing. So we're going to want to chop up some garlic. That's going to go as the base to the vegetables that go over the beans. So to get started, I'm going to use a little olive oil, cook down the garlic, then I'm going to throw in the asparagus. I only want to cook this for a couple minutes so that it's al dente, because we're going to be making a delicious sauce to go in this. I'm going to use 1 lemon. I'm just going to zest it into a bowl. Then I'm going to take all the juice from the lemon, just both sides, squeeze it right in, and then I'm going to slowly whisk in a little bit of olive oil. From there, I'm going to add a little bit of red pepper flakes. This makes it nice and spicy, but if you don't want it to be spicy, I would probably just use like a smoked paprika to give it some wonderful flavor. Once you're done with that, we're going to add a little salt and pepper to this. I just pinch and taste. When I was finished with this, I realized the lemon was a little bit strong, so I ended up adding just a little bit of sugar to kind of break the acidity down from the lemon, which usually works for me. If you ever kind of overdo it on vinegar or lemon or lime, try to add just a pinch of sugar. It will cut through the acidity.
I wrote you a love song, and I tried to make it beautiful. It's a song about your sweet, sweetheart, and how nobody can steal me away. Yeah, I am yours, 'cause I want you and I wanted you to know. As he sang, she started to
So for our swordfish, you'll want to salt and pepper both sides, and then I'm going to cut these into little cubes. This way I can get each side nice and seared and crunchy. I just think it makes it so delicious. And at the end, we're actually going to tuck this into our asparagus kind of mixture that we're going to make. So I think this makes it better. Otherwise, once it's cooked, you're going to have to cut it, and sometimes the center isn't as crunchy. So that would be the only tip I have. And just make sure they're all kind of the same size. That way they cook evenly. So once you're done cutting those up, we're going to add them to a pan of hot oil and cook them on each side.
Grabbed his arm and took his hand. He held her close under the moonlight as they kept on dancing. And now they're singing their love song.
So while those are sauteing down, I'm going to chop up some mint and parsley. I like to use this on top of the asparagus right before I add in our lemon dressing. It will kind of open up the flavors, and then we'll go ahead and garnish it at the very end as well. Continue to turn over your swordfish. That way each side gets nice and crunchy. Right before we're about to serve this, I like to cook our beans. Make sure you wash them first, add them to a pan, and drizzle a little bit of olive oil in there. That way it doesn't burn. We just want to make that a nice base. I've also added my mint and my parsley to the asparagus right before I'm going to add the dressing. To finish off our salad, I'm going to be adding some feta cheese to it, which is a nice protein, and then I'll be adding our Gerards dressing, which is my favorite. You can pretty much get this at any grocery store, but I just think it's so good, and I always love the way that it can work with any salad. So once you have everything ready to go, we're going to go ahead and finish our asparagus and just drizzle on that beautiful lemon dressing we made and let that kind of cook down a little bit. This is going to be a nice spicy kind of green on top of the beans that will pair super well with your swordfish.
Beautiful. Calling each other sweetheart. I promise nobody can get in their way.
So once your asparagus is cooking on high, go ahead and take your swordfish and add it into the asparagus mixture. What I like about this is it actually infuses that lemon zesty flavor into the swordfish, which is super yummy. I did leave some of these out for the kids because they obviously aren't going to enjoy that flavor as much at this age, but they did enjoy just regular seared up, and they kept saying they thought it was chicken. But anyway, I'm going to add a bed of these cannellini beans to a plate, and then I'm going to be adding some asparagus, and then I'll tuck in the swordfish. Once you have everything plated, I'm going to be adding some fresh dill and parsley to the top. I just think the brightness of fresh herbs can just really liven up any dish. And then on the side, I'll add a beautiful dish of our salad and add a little bit of fresh herbs to the top of that as well. But this is tonight's dinner. It is green and fun for St. Patrick's Day. It's also bursting with flavor, and I will spend a little bit of time today and add this to my website. I don't know if I'm going to get to it by the time I post this video. I will obviously add this on Instagram in case you guys want to download it there as well. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and are getting a little inspired for St. Patrick's Day. Definitely go look at last year's video because there are so many great things that you can plan for your children or grandchildren or nieces or nephews, just anybody who you want to surprise and make a fun St. Patrick's Day for. That is the video for you, but I'll be sharing a lot more on my channel before then. Okay guys, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!
It's a song about your sweet, sweetheart, and how nobody can steal me away. Yeah, I am yours, 'cause I want you and I wanted you to know.